Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And guess what, Mare? Today we are doing a stove exchange. And I am taking out the 1951 Kelvinator. That's out. And coming in is a 1968 General Electric. So, we are going to say goodbye to our 51 Kelvinator that has been in the studio kitchen for, gosh, since last summer, I want to say. And I have to tell you, it has been a really good range. For a 71-year-old appliance, this stove has not failed me and has not disappointed. And just to remind everybody, if you didn't see us putting this stove in, it has a lot of great features. It has the automatic, oven on, oven off system. It has a timer that'll go up to an hour. That works beautifully. It is a double oven model. So on this Kelvinator, you've got your master oven, which is here on the right side, and here is the control for that. And then you have the second oven, which is actually, unlike a lot of ranges of this era, where the second oven is a lot smaller. This one is only a smidge smaller. It is just as deep, but it is probably about 2.5 inches less tall than the primary oven. Both of the ovens work beautifully. Beautiful baking stove, even heat. We've got a surface light here, and we've got these, I think they were called Colormatic switches. And I don't know if you can get in here, Mir, and see that little jewel is red, and now it's yellow, and now it's orange. Let's see. And then, I don't know what kind of purple and blue. So they would change colors depending on, the colored switches was a huge fad in the 50s. But for 51, they were a really early adapter of the colored switches. Westinghouse had them, General Electric had them. Norge had, they all had them, but this was a 51 Kelvinator had them. This was pretty deluxe. If you had this stove, you were living large, okay? It was really the top of the line stove. It does not have a deep well cooker, which is actually fine with me, but it's nice to have the additional 8-inch burner in the back. So it's been a wonderful stove and a good friend. And want to know something, sis? I figured today is a good day to do a stove exchange. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm not getting any younger, all right? And we have a couple of friends who came for a visit today. Let's introduce our food friends to our appliance friends, Richard and Chris. And you guys, I am so glad that you're here with me today because, one, I need the extra muscle, especially, this Kelvinator is not light. But it's also great just to have friends with common interests. And Richard and Chris both are appliance collectors and so knowledgeable on so many things. You don't know how much I've learned from both of these guys. And what I also like is it's like the next generation. You gotta keep it going, okay? You gotta keep the interest going. The next generation of appliance collectors. So thank you guys for being here and for helping me out.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate it. I really do. And let's go over to the range room so that you guys can see what I have in mind in terms of what I'd like to bring in to the studio kitchen for our next range. So I've trying to cycle through all the stoves and ones that haven't been used. And this one is a fairly recent acquisition. And here it is, a 1968 General Electric. Now, this isn't quite the top of the line. It's not self-cleaning. They had a self-cleaning model. But what I loved about this stove, in all the collection, this is my first avocado green stove. And I don't know about you, Mare, but I love the color. And avocado green, you know, it's a love-hate thing. I happen to like avocado green. I think it's a beautiful color, and it is representative of a time when we were getting away from pastels and bright colors like the turquoise and the seafoam green and the yellow and the pink, and we were transitioning to earth tones. And so we had harvest gold and avocado green and poppy and wood tone, copper tone, and things like that. And it was reflective of the times. And I'm going to talk more about this on our website, about how earth tone appliances came in when they did. It wasn't by accident, because there was a lot of things happening culturally in the late 60s and early 70s, and a lot of us remember that time. So anyways, this is the stove coming in. So we'll take a look at it once we get it in and hooked up. All right, fellas, here we go. On 3, 1, 2, 3. A little bit more. How you doing? You got it, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
From this angle, you can see the panel light.
Oh, yeah. I hope it works. Boy, I really like this one, Mare.
No hands.
No hands. How about that? Okay, turn the corner. All right, guys. Very good, and down we go. Watch your fingers there, Richard. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Now we will get this in position, plugged in, and we'll come on back, and fingers crossed it all works. Well, food friends, here it is. The 1968 General Electric. And, well, Chris and Richard really did that. They did the heavy lifting on this one. I really appreciate you guys. I can't tell you. But I'll tell you what, it was lighter than the Kelvinator.
Oh, it was.
And it's amazing when you think the Kelvinator is a 51 and then this is a 68. So there's a 17-year difference in the two appliances in these ranges. And look at how things changed in the course of those 17 years. Some things changed and some things didn't. But in 1968, General Electric was still with the push button on the stoves. But what we're going to do first is let's just see. I'm going to start with, how about that? We got a light. So we've got a fluorescent work light under here. I'm going to put the clock, yeah, let me just put a couple minutes on this. We'll see if the clock's working. Sometimes the clocks don't work. So you can see here we've got right and left burners, rear and front. So the off position is all the way to the right. You've got warm, low, 3, 2, high. Now, not everybody would have a configuration like that, but this was General Electric's. So I know that, and Chris and Richard, a lot of people think it's weird that you go from high to 2 to 3, and rather than the other way around.
I wondered about that. I never understood why they figure on that.
So you would think it would kind of go sequentially in terms of, you know, the amount of heat, but this is how the GE is set. You can see too, it also gives you a little oven temperature guide. Beef and ham, lamb, veal, biscuits, bread, casseroles, which were not so big in the early 50s, but in the 60s, boy, were they ever. Chicken, duck, turkey, pork, two-crust pie. So you've got a little bit, if you're not a really experienced cook, you got a little bit of an instruction there. So let's just try a few things. I'm going to turn these two burners on high, and I'm going to turn the oven. You've got an oven set. Oh, I can already feel the burners. You've got the oven set, bake, broil, timed bake, and rotisserie. So here's our light here for the oven. Let's put it at 300 degrees. I'm going to assume that light will probably come off when the temperature is set. So let's, it looks like there's a little light on here. It's hard to see because of the surface light, but do you see there's a little red light right there under my fingers. Careful, Mare, that you don't burn yourself with that. Well, I guess the timer's working. All right, guys, what do you think? You certainly feel like they're getting warm to me.
Oh yeah, you can feel it a good bit away.
So we'll turn those off, and we'll turn these two on. Now this one says extra high-speed Kelrod. So that is, am I understanding that this just gets hot real fast?
Well, I think what was happening, and I don't know for sure, but I figure that they would put 240 volts of electricity through an element meant to take 120.
So that it essentially had double the electricity going to it.
Yeah.
So it would get hot, and it is hot, real hot right now, in less than a minute. Extra high speed. This one in the back also says extra high speed. These don't. So apparently you got, with this particular range, you got two 6 and an 8-inch high-speed burner. I'm going to shut them off. All the burners are working. How nice. I don't know if you can tell, but that element looks red to me in the oven.
I can feel it from here.
Can you feel the heat?
It's cold.
Okay. Well, I'd say this is in pretty good working order. We've got a storage drawer down here with a broiler pan.
You must show off how the constant light switch works there.
Oh, yeah. So this little switch here is to turn the oven light on so you can peek through the window. But maybe, let me shut this oven off since we don't want to get too much of a suntan here. But what it does is when you flip the switch, Mary, I don't know if you can see this little piece of metal, recedes in the door. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. And when it comes down, what it does is it allows this switch to pop out, which turns the light on. So kind of a interesting way to do it, because that way you can, the nice thing about the windows is you can kind of peek in without having to open the door. So again, you know what, if they made stoves in this color today, I would buy one. Where do you guys come down on avocado green?
It's just another color in a great part of history. I think many people today would still enjoy it, even though it's out of fashion per se. But
It's not my favorite, but it's grown on me quite a bit.
and
Yeah.
especially on a GE, because GE came out with avocado first.
Were they the first one
They
with
were.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely looks appropriate on this range, and it also fits in with your kitchen layout here very well.
Now, sometimes I hear when we talk about these earth tone colors, the avocado green, the copper tone, the harvest gold, I hear people talk about shaded.
Yeah.
Now, this one doesn't look shaded to me.
It looks shaded to me.
Does
It's like
it?
this lighter bit here and a more
Oh,
dark bit
okay.
there.
Maybe it's just where I'm standing in the light. Does
It
it look
could
like
be.
it has a little shading around the
Does
edge?
Slightly, yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to tell if it's whether they sort of embossed a slight change to the door, but I believe the door is about flat. So in other words, it would have to be shaded for the most part to get that sort
Possibly
of
not
darkened
as
effect.
boldly shaded as some others.
Some of them are very. I've seen some that were very pronounced.
Especially
the
copper
shading.
tone. They really like shading copper tone a lot.
But I'm going to look forward to, I would say probably, when you're talking about 1968 and even prior, GE was, I don't know if they were the largest appliance manufacturer, but they would have been number 2, I would think. I mean, it was Frigidaire, Westinghouse, and General Electric. I mean, I think those were the big 3.
Yeah.
And thank you again. Talk about how you learn things from other collectors like Richard and Chris here. I didn't realize that General Electric was the first one to offer avocado.
In a major appliance, yeah.
What about like Harvest Gold and the other colors? Do you know?
I think those came just slightly after, but I couldn't say for sure who brought what out first.
And I don't know what year avocado green was introduced. Do you? Again, this is a 68 by the serial number.
66 or 7.
Okay, 66 or 7. All right. So it would have been a relatively new color when this stove. And I want to say that I remember avocado green stoves being sold new into the 70s.
Absolutely. And they carried stuff like copper tone or like a coffee, they'd call it, into the 80s.
Yeah. We had remember Mom had a Poppy, I think it was called. It was almost a reddish orange color. It was a Frigidaire.
Yeah.
And when she was in her early American phase in the mid 70s.
Frigidaire made their washers, the 118 series washers, in that same color as well. You could get a washer and dryer set in Poppy.
In Poppy?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So, and I think here, especially in Michigan, especially where most people had laundry rooms in their basement, but in California and a lot of other rooms there weren't basements, and so the laundry room was right off the kitchen, so it would make sense if you wanted all your appliances to be the same color because they were all kind of in the same basic room of the house. It makes sense.
Manufacturers definitely encourage that. There's a lot of the period ads of the Bendix bolt-down washers when the first automatics came out as put in people's kitchens. Literally, they'd have a section where there's no countertop, and they encourage you to bolt your washer there.
Right
in
to
your
the
kitchen.
into the kitchen floor. Sure.
Would
Well,
shake the floor to high heavens, though.
Well, I will say I think this is a beautiful stove. I love the design. It's not overly busy and complicated, and I'm going to look forward to doing some cooking and baking on our 1968 avocado green stove. And like I said, I'm going to talk more about these colors on cavalcadeoffood.com, which is our new website. If you haven't checked it out, please do. I've been working hard on trying to get that website up. But before we say goodbye, Marianne, thank you for working the camera.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. And I want to thank especially Chris and Richard for helping out with this move and getting the old Kelvinator out and the new General Electric in. And now that this is in service, I'm going to look forward to doing a lot of cooking and baking with you, all of our food friends here on Cavalcade of Food. Until then, take care, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.